and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth today. Today I'm testing out some new technology, if you like, new ways of doing things. So I'm hoping that the audio is going to be good. If it's not, please do leave a comment and let me know, and I'll try and modify it. But either way, I hope the week has been very kind to you, that you've had a lovely week, and that the next week is going to prove positive as well. So, of course, when it comes to Chitter Chatter, this week, I haven't really got a lot to talk about with the animal medicine except for the Magpie Lark, who has been a visitor this week. Not in the beautiful big tree, because of course the tree, it happens at times of the year, different times of the year. It's seasonal as to what amazing bird species will fly in and fly out. The Magpie Lark tends to be around a little bit more often. It's a right chatterbox, I might add. But when we talk about the animal medicine of the lark specifically, it can talk about mirroring, and it can also be about protecting your space. They can be a bit aggressive, apparently, not so as I've observed. I've just noticed that they can be really loud when they fly into the garden and do a bit of a screech at you. Um, what else can I say about them as far as wisdom goes? Basically, I think just as far as the medicine goes, they are associated with the qualities of the moon and the lunar cycle, which of course always refers to intuition and that whole inner reflection, that journey inward of self-discovery, shall we say. And for them, it's associated with singing. So actually, it does tie in for me to some extent, because I've been getting into the power of music again, which is the singing. It does refer to chants and mantras and that kind of thing. I've been doing some video work and preparation work for the Angel of Music video, and which is really associated with healing of music. And I've remembered that I've been a bit stumbled over my words for a bit. I hope you can't hear that low flying plane going over. But anyway, yeah, I have neglected things like the power of music, shall we say, which is really such an important factor for keeping spirits running high, shall we say. If you find the right music, it can really uplift mood, or it can make you super peaceful. I probably have been playing too much of the peaceful stuff, so that tends to make me a bit more quiet and reflective. And the key message of this bird, anyway, is I think the underlying one is basically start singing, because when we sing, not only do we create a vibration within ourselves and raise our own auric speed, if you like, we also do impact on our mood positively, and it's actually really good as an exercise for the lungs, of course. So it helps us with our breathing and to be able to hold that breath as well. So it's really good in so many different ways. From a Chitter Chatter perspective, though, goodness me, I do have a story associated with the Magpie Lark, and I'll try to be short because otherwise the videos get too long. But many years ago, I was working on a mine site, and we used to fly in. We call it fly in, fly out. And on my fly-in day, as was the pattern, the girl, because there was two of us doing a job, it had to have 24/7 coverage. I would fly in on one plane, and I would cover for somebody that was flying out on the following plane. So anyway, I've arrived at the mine site. She shoved this box in my hand and she said, "And this is for you. It's a parting present." She said, "It's all right. It's kind of covered." So when I looked in the box, what I had was a couple of hatchlings of these magpie larks, and they had apparently been either kicked out the nest or fallen out the nest. And I was going to be responsible for feeding them for the next fortnight while I was on site. And it turned out the the guy that was the environmentalist on the mine site, he was making me a food substance, shall we say. It was a pretty disgusting mix, I might add, where I had to, using a syringe, I think it was, put it into the beaks of these baby mouths, baby bird mouths. So it was quite the experience. Now, I will also mention, just by the by here, because this has reminded me for this, is that those little birdies, they knew when I was coming every morning, because I didn't take them home to where we slept. We would call it a donga. So you're learning some terminology here today. So I didn't take them home to my donga. I would leave them in the office, and I would feed them when I left work at the end of each shift, which was about 6 p.m. And then when I came back into work the next morning at about 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. or somewhere in between, I would go in, make myself a coffee was the original routine. And bearing in mind I had these babies to look after, I would make the coffee, get the baby food, and go and feed the little birdies. Well, the thing was that very quickly, these little birdies, they knew my footsteps. And the moment I walked in, I could hear when I was walking around the building and going up that they were not awake. These little birds were asleep. And so it was quiet as a mouse in the office, me being the first one going in. And the moment that door opened and my footsteps would go up the passageway, oh, these little birdies were singing to me like their throat had been cut until they were fed. So just a little story to share with you, quite funny. We ended up, we did get them down to Perth, to one of the animal sanctuaries. The Enviro took care of that, but I had to feed these babies for 2 weeks. So that's just a little story. The colour content is coming along fairly nicely for those that are into it. All told, I think I've got 50 videos that I've got to complete for the colour content. There might be some more, but I think we're looking at about 50 all up for this particular playlist. And so this week, of course, we have managed to load the following videos. So you will have seen the lightning blue go up. I'm trying to keep it in pockets of colour shades and hues as I go along, just to make it a little bit easier, or I don't know, to have a bit of a flow. I mean, if you want to see some changes, once again, I invite you to let me know. So either way, we've seen lightning blue go up now. You will also have seen the video on indigo go up. Now, as you can see by this image here, I actually really like to try and get creative, certainly around the types of photos that we use to try and reflect the actual colours, especially because it's so hard actually to get the right colour for the right thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it allows you to draw upon your own imagination as well, rather than relying on me and what I perceive a colour to be. I can give you this content, but it's up to you to come to your own conclusions. Next week, what I've got scheduled, I've loaded them already, and they will automatically publish on the Tuesday and the Friday. But next week, we've got Azure going up. I hope you like this image here. I think it's absolutely stunning. But we'll be talking about the benefits and healing properties of Azure, as well as the colour of aqua. Now, just a tip for those people who are interested in it, both aqua and azure are in some ways related to the throat chakra. So they're more about communication than the other shades of blue. But I'll let you watch the videos to get more information about them. So technology has continued to be an absolute pain in my backside over the last week. And in fact, we can all have our patience expire at different times, and I'm no different. And this week I got extremely impatient because I thought, look, they had promised to give me an answer by the 29th of March, and here we are actually now 21st of April by the time you hear this, and I'd not got any feedback. So I actually pursued this, and I'm thinking that they are not going to be able to, I'm still waiting for feedback on this, by the way, that they're probably not going to be able to put in place the infrastructure needed to improve on my internet service provision, if you like. So unless you can think of a better solution, I'm thinking I might have to look at that Elon Musk thing that's through the satellite. I think it's called Starlink. But I'm very open to suggestions if you've got some ideas. I would be very grateful. So the numerology content's also ticking along really nicely. Tomorrow you're going to see the first of 5 videos come out in regard to arrows on the birth chart. Now, I hope this is going to be informative for you and that you find it interesting. I did break it down into so many videos for 2 reasons. One, to try and keep the videos under half an hour each, and the second reason is because I'm only talking about a couple of the arrows on each video, and it's about doing justice to the information that they provide. And sometimes that includes looking at a scenario as part of developing that personal understanding and awareness of the numbers. Now, hopefully you will have noticed in regard to the angels that I have finally come good on my promise to give you an angel video and to start looking at the angelic hierarchy. And I've got to say, I am thoroughly enjoying working on this content. So hopefully, if angels is your thing, you saw the angel of knowledge go up. There have been some delays with me doing the shorts for the angel of knowledge, and this was part of the technology problem. It was taking me over an hour to be able to just even edit a video, but I think I've got a temporary solution around that as a problem. So that's okay. You'll see the shorts go up probably within the next 48 hours. I'm also doing preparation on the next angel video, which is actually the angel of beauty. I will be loading that one up. I'm almost tempted to go into a chitter chatter here about angels because I had the most amazing conversation when I went to the shops the other day. I connected with a guy who's a Muslim who's got a verse on his wall, and we ended up having conversations. And he was asking me, I don't know actually if he's a bit psychic or intuitive, because he was actually really prying to dig out of me what it was that I was doing and what kind of artwork I wanted and all of this kind of thing, what I did in my spare time. But when I say he was digging, he was probing in an inoffensive way, but he certainly wasn't taking no for an answer. And the reason why I went with the conversation was because this was our question if he was a bit psychic himself, is because he turned around and just said to me out of the blue, where I wasn't expecting it, he said, "Do you go and knock on people's doors on Sunday?" I was like, "No, where did that come from?" So he obviously presumed that I had faith and I was a Christian. And I said, "I do what some people would call to be religious." I said, "But no, I don't go and knock on people's doors on Sunday." That led to a different conversation. Finally, I turned around and said, "Look, at the moment I'm doing artwork, looking at angels and trying to be creative and that kind of thing." And yeah, it just ended up being a really, really interesting conversation about belief. But I think probably the reason why I will actually talk about it is because he was a little bit persistent. I tried to explain to him that I would not be accepted in many of the churches, because obviously I do psychic readings and I do tarot, and it goes against a lot of the Christian beliefs, shall we say. Not all. There are some Christian churches that accept that actually it is not a bad thing. But we do tend to cop a bit of flack, shall we say. Anyway, long story short, we ended up discussing some of these things because he asked me why I did it. And I said, "Look, I get visions." And he said, "What do you mean? What sort of visions?" And I said, "I'm not comfortable talking about them." And I said, "But X and Y." I started to lead into something, and he put his hand up and he said to me, "You're right. Don't talk to me about that." And I thought, this is against his religion. This is why he's doing it. This is, bearing in mind English is a second language, and sometimes you've got to get past some of these language and barriers of words. But he turned around, he said, no, he said, "When you get a vision like that," he said, "that's very sacred. It's special to you." He said, "And you should not be talking to anybody but those people that have had similar visions or whatever," which is actually something I believe, but I wasn't sure how to convey it to him, because these are, if you like, things that I've come to my own conclusions with over the passage of my own personal growth and development. But I think, really fascinated that he was switched on enough to realize straight away, and that kind of ended that conversation. But we were talking also about angels, which of course he said to me, yes, his faith, they do believe in angels. And in fact, actually, we talked about a lot of the similarities between Islam and Christianity, which a lot of people don't realize that are actually there. And by this, I'm talking about the core teachings. I'm not talking about people's behaviors and fanaticism or anything like that. I'm talking about, if we like, there are similarities of the scriptures. And it's just really interesting to have that conversation with people about what their beliefs are. And yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, because that can be quite a divisive conversation, because people get so hung up about what's right and what's wrong, and that their way is the only way. And the idea for me with what I do is to try and bring people together and to bridge that difference, to recognize that we're all different, but we all have unifying traits, if you like. There's a similarity. We're humans. We're all human. So there are going to be common features for all of us. But anyway, so that's an update on what's happening with the angel content. I can't remember who I've got next. I'm looking at the Angel of Beauty. That will be finished. I've just got to record the audio for that one. That will go up this Thursday. And then I've got another one. It might be either the Angel of Music or it might be the Angel of Nature that I put up the following week. But we'll see. Keep tuned. I'll put it up. I'll let you know. So while I have had some fun with art this week, I haven't actually created an art reel because I don't have enough artwork there to actually put on a reel yet. But most of the focus for the art currently for this week is actually on the angels because this is the content that I'm working on. Um, we'll see how we go if I load one next week, but I am still loading the quote ones. You've still got the quote ones going up. And just a question for you too. Do you think I should go back to the AI, or is it okay from a user or listener experience to continue with my own voice? Because I'm not 100% sure what's preferred. So let me know. I'm happy to accommodate whatever is the preference there. And I certainly won't be offended if somebody says, no, give us the AI, okay? Because I am human and I do make mistakes, as you're aware. So, yeah, if you could just let me know what your thoughts are, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So, my friends, a nice quick one for this week. Did you hear that? Noise. I think I said Australian nice. Yeah, a nice quick one for this week. And so, either way, I say thank you for joining me. If you've stuck with me to the end, thanks very much for being around. You are invited at all times to comment, to ask questions, to let me know if there's more content that you would like put up. I'll certainly do my best. In the meantime, I'm going to say thank you very much. Love you, leave you. Have a wonderful day, blessed week. Take care. See you on the next video. Bye bye for now.